You may as well give life a bit of a shot, mightn't you? You've only got one go at it.
Yeah. True. I think I've ever really liked.
Especially in this job. You know what I mean? On full smooth, that could be it.
Yeah. I do feel for you.
Do you?
Yeah. I don't think I could do it.
Not many people do, Eve.
I don't think I could do it.
Sorry to interrupt, but if you're learning to drive, you need to become a member and you get access to a Learn to Drive course, absolutely comprehensive videos.
I'm actually going to interrupt myself here. Actually, this course has been brilliant for PDIs doing part 2 and particularly the part 3s. They're full-length videos. Rebecca's playing the role of the pupil, I'm playing the role of the instructor, and Rebecca's throwing in all the faults. We're doing them all to client-centered learning. Get to know your 17 key PDIs that you need for your part 3 driving test. Get some great ideas how to do for your standards check and for your part 3 as well. It's just $5.99 a month. Just subscribe as long as you need it.
Small fee each month, videos added all the time. Learn to drive just using our videos.
I definitely couldn't.
You're not?
No. Like 17-year-olds putting my life in danger every single day of the week.
Well, it's only putting... With all, you know, with all fairness to that, I know people saying, oh gosh, you don't get many jobs of 70-year-olds trying to kill you on a daily basis. It's... Assessing the risk is the big thing. If you're a driving instructor, becoming a driving instructor, it's that keeping the environment as risk-free as possible.
Yeah.
And the best way you can do that is making sure, assessing your pupils' capabilities.
Of where you're going to take
Let me
them.
concentrate. Assessing your students' capabilities, and are they on the road, that they can, if they make mistakes, it's not going to cause an absolute catastrophe.
This is why you don't start taking them on the like A6.
Yeah, we don't go start off on the dual carriageway.
Yeah.
Like,
Slip road first.
Oh look, I've driven on the dual carriageway. No, you're just told to go on the dual carriageway. You haven't driven the dual carriageway.
Yeah.
You will make mistakes, and I just need to make sure. And also, it's always looking ahead. So, for example, whenever I give you a direction, I've always looked behind me. I'm making sure it will be safe for you to take the next right.
Yeah.
And if you always notice, if I give the instruction at the moment, I look behind it, it's okay to go. I'm looking at you now, going at the roundabout, take the first exit left at the roundabout. So I'm looking at you, doing the instruction, make sure you're looking at the mirrors. Now I'm looking across to make sure where's the risk coming from. Yeah. So I know I tell you to check the threat. Guess what I'm doing?
Yeah.
So wherever I'm looking, I'm hoping for you to be looking. Second exit, follow the road ahead, please.
Oh no, I'll stay in second. It's just very small.
Now, what's that car doing there?
Yeah, no, it's
Good. Now, depending on the person and my assessment of their capabilities,
Yeah.
a little bit further down the line, and it will be on test day, I won't mention that red car.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not saying, slow down, there's a red car coming. I'm prompting you, going, what about that red car?
What is
I'm
that
drawing
red car?
you. If you're not checking the threat, or you're coming too fast, in my opinion, for you to check the threat, I'm going to now draw your attention to where the threat is going. What do you think? Notice it's always as a question, though.
Yeah, yeah.
Because then I want you to replace my voice telling you where to go. That's a serious fault, wasn't it?
Yeah, I don't know.
So, take the little curb. I kind of thought I knew it was going to happen. I decided to let that one run its course just to give you a lesson of, oh, okay, rather than move you away.
Yeah.
Your Bray or Rich is always going to come and bail me out. Well, I let it run that time.
Am I going straight on her?
You're always following the road ahead unless I tell you
you.
otherwise. Now, how are you going to follow the road ahead? Stop. Look at the arrows.
Oh, that's going that way. Okay.
Yeah. You got a junction there, and it said straight on and right. Which lane do you think is going to be for turning right? Which lane do you think is going to be for following the road ahead?
This left.
So logic even tells you there. Look,
Yeah.
it's got to be that, hasn't it? So I will let you make mistakes sometimes, because
Yeah,
you kind of
'cause you
learn
learn
more from the
from it.
mistakes. But I'm not going to let you from running a child over, for example.
Yeah.
Oh, well, you'll learn from that. I have to jump in.
Yeah.
So this, for me, is a continuous flow of check what you're doing, check what you're doing, check what you're doing, where you want to go, as well as teaching you at the same time.
God, you must be
Within it.
tired.
It does get a little bit tiring. I mean, it's not always going to work.
Yeah.
I make mistakes in teaching, of course I do.
Everyone makes mistakes.
And you get times when you get stressed out as well. I've had a whole day of it.
Yeah.
especially in the winter when it gets darker at nights and it's just why you can't see so much, and it's all trying to keep that assessment of risk. It's as Rag and Bone Men said, very human, or something like that. Trying to work out where to put the marks in a driving test sheet is really quite a complicated thing to do. You got to get it right.
Yeah.
So if someone's got arrows on the ground and you don't go in it, it's a different fault than if it has not got arrows on the ground.
Yeah.
If you're stopping at a junction and moving off, it's a different fault if you put it in front of something if you're rolling it through and moving off. You know, is it use of speed or is it failure to respond to road signs?
Yeah.
If you went speed, if you came in, missed a 30 and went 30, carried on doing 40 miles an hour, would you mark it for use of speed or would you mark it for failure to respond to road signs?
Yeah.
If you're in the 30, you speed up. If you speed up, don't realise you sped up to 35, go to the right hand side because we're going to be going through following the signs to Leicester, okay?
Okay.
Would it be use of speed or is it now, or what is it? You know, so
Yeah.
the thing is, if you get things in the same area, you could get promoted
Yeah.
to habitual problem. Welcome to Wigston. There's the test centre just down there.
Okay.
And the good thing about Wigston is they have more than about 4 examiners any 1 hour. They have a lot more people going out.
That's good.
Yeah, so it's a lot higher. After when they had through the overtime, they had 12 tests going out every hour.
Wow.
And they really threw a lot of people at it. Now, I'm finding I'm coming over more and more to Wigston. What do you think that does to a student's nerves on test day, knowing that in the old days, if it didn't work out for you, we know we don't go to testing, you can drive confidently, safely, and independently, blah, 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 and I'll be happy sitting right having a cup of tea, etc., etc. In the old days, if you haven't presented your skills because of nerves, you could practically on the way drive back say, stop crying, get your phone out, book another test, 2 weeks, come on, let's sort out another lesson next week, just to remind ourselves, let's rerun your test route to remind you, next week you're going to do your drive test, bosh, boom, job done. Now, if you go to test knowing that if it doesn't work out today, you ain't coming back for another 5 months.
It makes the nerves really, because it's like so much pressure on you.
And they wonder why the pass rates aren't going up.
Yeah.
It's completely shooting themselves in the foot. And we have to cope with that. We have to somehow teach people. Now, if you got to a really good standard, you can drive safely and confidently, and you're testing of another 4 months, why are you going to have another 4 months of lessons?
Yeah.
Well, if you don't have so many lessons, your standard's going to drop. You're going to get regression, which is natural. If you don't practice a sport, you don't go out the next day and be a brilliant golfer.
No.
You don't. If you didn't practice dance, you wouldn't exactly be doing your, doing your best dancing work, and anything like that. So it's blooming difficult trying to have a balance of keeping people to a standard and trying to make it as economical as possible.
Yeah, because if you know you've got 6 months if you fail, you're just gonna.
But it is what it is. And the nice thing about Wigston is because there's more tests you get.